Sir, you have a responsibility, I guess, and that's imparted throughout officers in various forms of training as to what, once someone is in their custody.
Oh, yes. We have a duty of care. And so when someone is in our custody, regardless if they're a suspect, we have a obligation to make sure that we provide for their care.
Does that include people to whom defensive tactics are being applied?
Yes.
Why is that?
They are still in our custody, and they have rights. And the humanity of this profession, we need to make sure that we're taking care of them.
So how often are officers required to participate in defensive tactics training?
It's usually a yearly annual training.
Do you know that, when we're talking about the training and policies in effect on May 25, 2020, were neck restraints and chokeholds taught and authorized by MPD policy at the time?
At that time, yes.
And they were taught pursuant to the defensive tactics training as well?
Yes.
At this time, I'd like to publish Exhibit 224. Exhibit 224 showing MPD Policy 5-311, use of restraints, neck restraints and chokeholds. You see a chokehold is considered a deadly force option, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. If you could go to the next page, please. Neck restraint, if you could highlight that portion from that down to unconscious neck restraint. Okay. There are various types of neck restraints that were authorized at the time, is that right?
Yes.
And neck restraint was defined as compressing one or both sides of a person's neck with an arm or a leg, is that right?
Yes.
But without applying any direct pressure to the trachea, the airway that needs to be protected?
Yes.
Right. And there were two types of neck restraints that were authorized: conscious neck restraint and unconscious neck restraint.
Yes.
And the objective of the unconscious neck restraint, the second one, would be to have the person actually pass out.
That is correct.
And under certain circumstances in which the officer was in fear of grave bodily harm or death, that would be authorized. Is that right?
Yes.
And conscious neck restraints were more with the neck restraint with the intent to control, but not to render the subject unconscious. Is that right?
Yes.
By applying light to moderate pressure. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
And if you could go to Roman 2 on the same policy, highlight that. Conscious neck restraint can be used for someone who is actively resisting, correct?
Yes.
And an unconscious neck restraint could be used for a person who is exhibiting active aggression or to save a person's life. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Or in a subject who is exhibiting active resistance if lesser attempts would have or would likely to be ineffective. Is that right?
Yes.
But neck restraints were not to be used against persons who were merely passively resisting, correct?
That is correct.